Hi, everybody, and welcome back to episode 4, Leah. Is this
I
4?
yeah, it's episode 4. I can't believe we made it this far.
Wow. I know, yay. So, episode 4 of Coffee with the Coach. I am Coach Allie, and right next to me is my
Rehearsal. That's a great rehearsal.
yes, my friend and co-host with us and client Leah. So, hey, Leah, how are you today? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday fun day. Hey girl, hey.
Sunday fun day. So speaking of coffee with the coach, I mixed it up today. So I'm actually having green tea today from Starbucks, one of my favorite places. So what you got in your cup today? Because last week you had some vodka with that coffee. What you got going on today?
Well, I guess I'll continue keep it interesting. So I still have my no drama llama.
Uh-oh. And your
But I think for today's cocktail might be whiskey.
you have some whiskey in your Java.
Maybe, maybe not.
Nice. Like it. Like it. Well, good for you. So you're getting ready for an early start to Labor Day. We got any big plans, huh?
I think I'm just gonna turn my brain off. That's
God,
it.
that's nice.
Just recharge.
I'm with you, girl. I am totally looking forward to having some downtime this holiday weekend. And unfortunately with holiday weekends, that's also a surefire sign for sabotage in the diet. Um, how do you manage?
Very true.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you manage getting through?
I usually try to stay away from my circle of friends, but that's very antisocial of me. So I actually do the alley trick where I literally fill my cup up with some kind of soda water, and it's worked so well. Where they're like, "Hey, what you drinking?" I'm like, "Oh, vodka soda." Yeah, right. It's just like a can of La Croix or something. So, you know,
I think
that's
you just
it.
revealed to all your friends what your secret is. So, now you might have some people sniffing in your mug to see.
I know that's true. I mean, they still do it anyway, but it's fine. I might as well verbalize it.
Well, let me ask you a question because that's a great point, and I'm so happy to hear that you actually took that advice. Does it make you any less fun at a party when you do that?
No, actually, it doesn't. But
I
it's fun to be an observer, though.
That's been my favorite part, and I'm glad that you said that because I know a lot of times when people hit a holiday weekend, they start thinking, alcohol always seems to come into the mix, and I would say our friends are pushers, like a drug pusher almost. They're like alcohol pushers, and you just, I laugh. I had to learn that for myself that I'm not a dud without alcohol. So, unless you think I absolutely have to have alcohol, maybe you're saying something about my personality. But it's really interesting that, we succumb to drinking even if we don't want to, just
Hmm.
because of the fact that, our friends are doing it. So I'm very happy to hear you use that hack. And I agree with you. I love watching people because people don't realize there's a lot of loose lips. Find out a lot of
Oh
things
my gosh.
when people
The
are drinking.
the gossip that I get is priceless sometimes. I'm like, oh yes, this is way better than watching TV or Netflix or anything like that.
For sure. So, unfortunately, like we said, a lot of times, people sabotage exactly what their goals are when a holiday comes around. And, again, there's never a right time to begin anything. There's never a right time to start any kind of a weight loss program or a get healthy program or revitalize your lifestyle. There's always going to be something. And this is just one more indication coming up. And unfortunately, with the times that we're in right now, I think people overly celebrate because they're looking for an out or they're looking for a reason to be happy. So that actually leads us to today's topic, which is the order of operations of good health. And one of the reasons that we created this little, and we'll walk through this game. So let me put it up in here so we can see it in the stream. I'm going to move us around here. One of the reasons that we created this particular kind of game board is because there needs to be a formula that we follow to get the results that we want. So, Leah, don't go get drunk on me here. But so I want to ask you a question. Do you remember when you were in school and you had to learn the order of operations of math? Did you remember that?
Vaguely,
Vaguely? It's been a little while, right?
just a little bit.
So do you remember the terminology PEMDAS?
I
PEMD?
do.
Okay. So when
Yep.
I learned it, my wonderful teacher in school taught us a little acronym for that, which was please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Simply means that in order of operations in a mathematical equation, you had to follow those letters to get to the right thing, right? So parentheses,
Yep.
exponent, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So we kind of through the years have created, or I've created this little acronym of ours called S.S.D.E. So simply put, we made it into a game board here. So when I have my clients, we try to follow this protocol or this method. So today I kind of wanted to walk through what this meant as a refresher course, because I'm sure, Leah, you've probably hit before where you feel frustrated that you're doing all this work and you don't understand why you're not seeing the changes, or you're working out really hard and you don't understand why, your weight's not going down or you're not seeing the muscles. I'm sure, right? You've had that
Uh,
happen.
I mean, it's happening right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So I feel like I hit a certain goal, but now I have to put that extra umph in order to keep it going. But yeah, I definitely hit that wall. So help.
Okay. Well, perfect. So we're going to play the game today and we're going to walk through what those steps are. So a lot of times when we play this game, just like, do you remember the game Shoots and Ladders as a kid,
Ooh.
or Snakes and Ladders? Do you remember any of those?
I think I'm gonna get my friendship card revoked. No, I have
Oh,
never played that.
did you ever play Candyland? Leah, you've never played
I
Candy.
know I haven't. I mean, I
Oh,
have, but it was a long time ago in my childhood. I told you my memory bank is very limited right now. It's
oh my
overloaded.
goodness. Did you put too much whiskey in that there coffee?
I don't know what
I'm
you're
just
talking about.
all right. So forget you who had no childhood playing games, but
How about
most games.
Monopoly?
Okay, yeah, Monopoly, the world's longest game. Yes, that
Yes,
you know.
it is very long. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So Monopoly, that's a really good one we can use also. So just like in the game Monopoly, once you chose what piece you wanted to be, right? Because everybody want to be the car, no one want to be the shoe. But once you chose the piece, I always wanted to be the little puppy. I always thought he was so cute, right?
Yeah.
I'll stop
I'm
and
a,
pee on everybody's places. But
I mean, I just have a tendency every time I pass somebody, I just topple their thing over. I'm just a big bully. What can I say? But anyway,
all right. Well, in the game though, when you start a game, you go with the intention, hopefully, of being the winner of the game. Yes,
correct.
most people
Yeah.
try to go have a good time, enjoy the game, and eventually be the winner. Especially in a game like Monopoly, you have two objectives: score boardwalk and have the most money and the most properties, right? Win the game.
Yep.
But there are times when you had to hit those chance cards. And sometimes those chance cards usually weren't good payroll for you, right? You had to do something. You had to pay in something, or you had to go to jail, or you couldn't pass go and you didn't get your $200. So either way, there was all these, I want to say, negative things that happened along the way, but did it make you quit the game?
No, it didn't.
No, you
Uh,
kept playing, and most of us do. And just like Shoots and Ladders or Candyland, Candyland's one of those. I remember growing up as a kid that, like, whether it was my nephews or my niece or anyone who played Candyland, like, we always cry fest if they didn't get Queen Frostine, right? So that was a
ah,
game over. But
got
most
it.
of the time in Shoots and Ladders, if you hit a ladder, you could crawl up and advance way past people who were ahead of you. If you hit a what's it called, a slide, you would slide all the way back down. But the one mental thing we learned is we didn't give up. Correct?
Correct.
So we played until the game was done. And in our case, if we're playing this game of life, when it ends is when we're dead. And unfortunately, being blunt. So we want to play this game as fully and completely as possible. So once we
Very true.
decide where our start is, and the start should be right now, once we figure out where start is, we have to play the game in the succession that it goes. And in our particular case, you're going to notice there's four major squares on the board. So the two S's and then a D and an E. So we're going to break that down a little bit for you as we have written it in that game board itself. We're going to start with, what is square number one, Leah? Can you see what it says?
It says stress sabotages equals solution.
Yep. So the first one is identifying. I'm going to go ahead and take this out. Identifying what that first S is, which is stress. What is stress? So, stress is simply, exactly, stress is simply that idea that we feel overwhelmed, overworked, overtired. There's a lot of things. We're actually going to show this one in here too. These give us a bunch of different examples of what stress are. So, the first thing we have to do as we're getting started in our journey is to identify what stresses us out. And really, there's four major types of stress. Usually, I go over those four types with my clients so we can break them down. But just to ease over the last one with you guys, stress number four is, can you guess what it may be, Leah?
Stress number four? I
It's
don't
the
know.
hidden stress. It's called social, celebratory, or happy, right? So
Oh,
what happens? What do we all do when we get around each other? Let's look at Labor Day and people are going to be barbecuing. So it centers around what? Food, drink.
food and drinks.
Think about a birthday. What do most people want during a birthday?
Drink.
Drink, birthday cake, right?
Yep.
Anniversaries, celebrations, graduations, all these things. Every time vacations. I mean, I used to have a standing joke in my family that, and I even have a sign in my office that say calories don't count outside your zip code because if I'm not here, then it doesn't mean I have to follow any of my routine. So we really have to identify what is stressing us out in our life, right? And then we have to look
Hmm.
at what's a trigger. So let's say what's been a stressor for you, not in detail, but something like a light stressor that you've had to deal with before while you were going through this.
Well, right now is doing yard work.
Okay. So maybe that's more about upkeep of being a homeowner, right? The stress of
Yes,
being a homeowner. So the trigger would be doing the yard work, right? One of the pieces of that stress is handling your overgrown yard or whatever project you've decided to do. And for some people, that's actually not a stress. They fully enjoy it. For other people,
that's
they
true.
right? So some people, so let's say you're a person who hates doing yard work. Okay. So
Yeah,
the stress is homeownership. The trigger would be yard work. Then the solution would be how do we make it better? Because we can't just have a problem and bitch about it. We have to have
that's
a way
true.
to make it better. Right. So in your case, it might be, well, what did you do?
Whiskey?
Okay, but that's going
Kidding.
against my goal here.
I know. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So maybe it's plugging in playing great music while you're doing it. So that way it enthuses you.
Y- You have a point because actually, it's not that bad. It's just, it's there's no perfect timing to do yard work right now because it's so hot, super hot out here. But yes, when it comes to doing stressful things, like even at work, it's not really stress, but when I'm setting up anything, I actually turn to music a lot, and it actually pumps me up and gets me going, and it just takes my mind off the actual labor, and I don't mind it at all at the end of the day. So yes, you definitely hit a good point there where you find a solution, and I feel like music for me helps me get through any of my challenges.
Okay, so let's not discount the fact that you hate yard work, but let's go to something that most people deal with as a struggle. So, a particular stressor could be work. And just because you're stressed with work doesn't mean it's a bad situation. So, we could say work stresses you out. At one point in time, pre corona, you traveled really often, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So that could be the trigger. Why couldn't you stay on task? Why couldn't you do certain things? Because stress caused you to, the stress of work, the trigger was traveling, right? So an inconsistent routine. So then you have to find a
Mhm.
solution to that problem. So it might be bringing something with you or making sure you have what you needed, or if you were missing your workouts, getting an app on the phone. So that's the idea of being able to identify what the stressors or roadblocks are in your life. The triggers are really those roadblocks, right? The stresses is the
Yep.
topics. The triggers are the roadblocks, what keeps you from succeeding, and then creating a solution to that problem. Makes sense, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
So moving on in our game board, the next thing we have is something called structure. Whoops, I lost Leah. I'm going to take her out here. And Leah, I am coming back. So if you hear me, hang tight, my love. I'm going to be right there. All right. So she's the technical one, guys, not me. She's my techie, not me. So when you put me as the host of the show, it's generally you're gonna have some kind of a little glitch or fail. So I'm sure everyone out there who's homeschooling any child will know I'm actually doing a pretty good job right now. So yeah. All right. So
Good
on to
times.
our second S in the game board, which is structure. Structure simply means routine and schedule. And just like I brought up about homeschooling, we all need some form of a routine in order for us to prevent chaos. Okay. If you remember driving down the street, traffic lights are on a system. It prevents people from crashing into one another. There's a timing system. Leah, where is schedule important for you in your life?
Schedule,
Yeah.
important for me in my life. I would say
Name a place
more,
where schedule works. Where is something that is important for you to have a schedule?
I would say during the days of the week, when it comes to planning my workouts, uh, to where it won't impede in how I function the rest of the day. So right now, I actually, some people call me crazy, some people get inspired, but I actually incorporated 5 a.m. workouts right before I go to work, even though I put in about 10 plus hours at work. But that's a choice. And so far it's worked. And the first few days was really brutal because I would actually feel the pain of waking up just to do the workout. But now it's almost as if my body got used to the routine. So it's almost as if I don't do it, my body's like, what's going on? You're slacking on me. So to me, it's worked out, and that's a schedule that I tried. It's a small step, but for me, it's been quite successful.
Okay, so Leah, great point. Let's also imagine schedule is really important for you for work. Okay. Now you've lived in that world, so this next question may not always apply to you. But
Sure.
now that you are working, most workforces have, outside of this new flex arrangement, have an idea that you show up from work at 9 a.m. and you leave at 5, right? Think about kids, or think about even when you went to school. A schedule is extremely important because we need to know when the bell schedule is, right? Kids can't just show up to any class anytime and expect that they can get in. It would be chaotic. So schedule and routine exists. And just like what you said, if you look at that center graphic, this is kind of the way most of us visualize our day, unfortunately. Most of us see ourselves in having just, I go to get up, I go to work, I'm exercising, I come home, right? I eat dinner, I do whatever. Well, I want you to take a look at an example down here of how we would teach a child routine, okay, and structure and schedule. That is a huge difference in steps compared to how an adult sees ourselves, correct?
Yep.
Many, many steps. And that's a part that we forget to do for us. And not only for us, but we actually have to look at the way our body works. Our body works on a system as well. Okay. And it needs to understand when to burn energy and when to relax and rest. It needs to understand when it's time to eat and when it's not time to eat. And if our systems inside are all mixed up, then it can't do the job that it's supposed to do. It ends up burning out, it gets chaotic, it gets crazy. If the heart isn't given a signal when to pump, which it does automatically for us, but if it didn't have that signal, or when we release too much hormone of adrenaline and we're telling that system to pump faster than it needs to, is that good?
No.
No. And if we tell the liver to keep secreting and the pancreas to keep secreting sugar in our body and overwhelm it, is that good?
No way.
No, that would lead to prediabetes or diabetes. So, generally, we need to make sure that in order for us to be able to lose weight, lean out, get healthier, and whatever our goals are, and healthy is a little different because healthy is not always weight loss related. And getting healthy, you still have goals and steps, but a lot of times we roadblock ourselves, even trying to be healthier, because we just keep missing steps because we have chaos. We don't understand where things fall in relation to our day. Right. So just like you said,
Yeah.
if you decided you were going to work out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you already had a shoot scheduled, does that work?
No.
No. So you had to create a better routine for yourself. And then once
Yep.
we get past all of that and we start identifying our routines and really making it more specific, just the same way we do here with the kids, once we start making it more specific, we can go to that third letter on the game board, which would be that third letter is D. D stands for magic word
Diet.
diet. That's right. So under here in this graphic, Leah, give me the Vanna White to my right, to my left here, down below. So for this graphic, we actually have what diet means. Diet simp is that Raven?
Sorry about that. That's my doggy Hope.
Oh,
She's just
hi.
being a guard dog. She's just saying, "Get away from here."
Actually, no, she's saying there is hope in this world. Get it?
Okay, positive yin yang. Got it.
There you go. So here's what we're doing here. But back to the D in diet. Diet simply means what is your fuel source? Where are you trying to achieve your energy from? But there are lots of diets, just like the examples we have here. All the way over to my left, you have the bacon and the eggs. That could signify a keto style diet. In the middle, we have your nice grilled chicken and some greens, which could signify a paleo or a lower carb type of diet. And to the right, with that pizza, we may call it a crap food diet, or we could simply call it a higher carb diet as well. Okay. So diet simply means there's Mediterranean, there's keto, there's DASH, there vegetarianism. That is considered a diet, even though most people don't become vegetarians in order to lose weight. So we get confused with that word diet, simply meaning that we're supposed to change up everything that we eat and do it in a specific way. But really understanding that D for diet signifies fuel. Okay. So what we eat obviously tells our body what to do. I don't know about you, but I remember being in kindergarten, going to kindergarten in my cafeteria, and it still stands out to me for some reason. So who knew? Maybe it was telling what I was going to do for the rest of my life. But there was a giant poster, and it was just like, it said, "You are what you eat." And it was like a carrot with a headband being really strong and lifting weights. And then like the cookies and the pie look like they're exhausted and they're just drained. And I understand
Sad face.
yeah, and I understand that more than ever now what that means because a lot of those sugary rich foods are energy zappers. It's not a good diet. That's a low energy diet, right? Where high energy may come from vitamins, minerals, and things that fuel our bodies better coming from those whole foods. So it just simply means that if I'm going to go work out for about 45 minutes to an hour and really push hard for my muscles, if I just ate a sleeve of Oreo, what am I really feeding the muscles?
Nothing but like refined sugar.
Exactly. And so sugar decays and rots our teeth. What the heck is it going to do to the rest of our body?
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, so if you look at what that goes in, we really are what we eat, which is why it comes third in our list. Because let's put it this way, if I don't have a structure and a routine, and again, when I work with my clients, we really delve more into what this means and how to structure yourselves appropriately and how to turn on and off metabolism. But let's take a look at if I'm starving myself all day long, would you think your body's burning or storing?
Storing.
Yeah. So a lot of this new intermittent fasting kind of thing that's going around,
Mhm.
not that it's a bad plan or program to be on, but some people are already stalled out. So when we
Yeah.
have this idea of fasting, what we're really saying is storing. So if I'm eating let's say a refined sugar, because I know I've had some of my friends who have done intermittent fasting, and so from 12 to 8, they can eat whatever they want as long as it's within those numbers, within those times. So let's just say they're eating pizza and they're eating sub sandwiches and they're eating all of this from 12 to 8, but their system was already in a stalled. Well, now I'm going to go into
Hmm.
a fasting state. What's going to end up happening? The potential for more what?
It's just gonna store the food. It's not gonna move it out. Move it out.
Correct. And even good food, I can eat the best food in the world. But if my system is already stalled out, where does it go? Ah,
In
exactly.
your body,
Yeah.
right here, right here.
All over the place and the places we don't want it, right? So we end
Yeah.
up storing. So that's why structure actually comes before food, before that diet, because we need to tell our body when it's time to eat and when it's not time to eat. And trust me, we can confuse our system. When you hear that stomach growl, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're hungry, especially if you ate an hour ago. Sometimes
Mhm.
we can confuse those hormones, ghrelin and leptin, and those are supposed to be our I'm full, I'm satisfied, and I'm my fat releasers. If we confuse those, they're going to send us all different like messages. That's like those red lights going wonky and then we have an accident. So it's important for us to follow that routine, to have that structure, and then go into the type of food that we eat. And then our last piece of that puzzle, when we look at our game board, is E. And E stands for what, Leah?
Exercise.
Yes, exercise. And you'll know by the graphic, exercise simply means physical movement. You do not have to be a gym rat. You do not have to be a CrossFitter. You don't have to be an Orange Theorian if you don't want to be, right? Some people love that. Some people are like, that's totally not for me. There's all different forms of movement. And if you notice in my little graphic, we're going to bring it back in here again. In my little graphic here, I actually have the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz. So, Leah, did you see the Wizard of Oz?
I did. I have, yes.
Yay! Okay, I was gonna say, don't leave me hanging here, girl. So,
I
the
won't.
Wizard of Oz, what did the wizard need in order for him to keep moving? Do you remember?
Oh, snap.
What did Dorothy need to have with her in order to be able to keep him moving?
Oil?
Yes, the oil. And that just
Yes.
simply means he had to lubricate his joints. So we're the same way. If we don't move, we stiffen up, right? Because we're creating this lactic acid in the system that builds up. We're not flushing it out of our system. So we are jointed, hinged creatures. I mean, we're supposed to have a joint and a hinge, let's see, right in here so that we can move. If I don't and I keep it in a locked position, it's very
Mhm.
hard for me to move. And so it needs to be oiled up and lubricated. And that's why you'll see people like glucosamine with chondroitin is a really big thing out in the market for people with knee and joint issues because it's supposed to help create some of that lubrication or prevent those joints from locking up. So anything to move. It doesn't mean that you have to go, like I said, and be a whole gym rat or be a runner or be those things, but soup cans. Those are really easy. I'm sure you have some soup cans in your pantry or any kind of cans where you can just do some soup can toners or stand up and stretch. Stretching is amazing exercise, although we don't really consider it to be that way because it's not tough enough. And
So 1 second, Ali. Actually, can you explain the joint part again? Because in my on my screen you froze, but I want to make sure that our people get the information that you explained about the hinges.
okay, so think about hinged places where we are. Arms, so right where the bicep is, right where, when we're working bicep and tricep, we're generally doing curls. That's actually working that hinged feature. You also have your knees. Okay, that's a hinged feature, right? So when you're lifting up your knees or marching in place, you need to create that bend when you're sitting in a chair. But a
Mhm.
lot of times, if we're sedentary or we're sitting most often, we'll get kind of, I don't want to say we get stuck in that position, but you'll notice a lot of people with knee issues because if we start to gain weight and we put more pressure on that hinge, but we're not moving it, I don't know. I have hurricane shutters in my house. So we actually have to lubricate the track once in a while
Yes.
because otherwise, if you don't, it's really hard to pull those shutters closed. They stiffen up. It's the same way. Our joints get rusted, if you want to say. So any form of movement, light walking, doing any one of those things, like I said, stretching, those are important to keep moving our joints so that we don't rust up. Okay, because it's very
Very true.
easy to do. And we put that last. Here's the big thing. Most people, if they were trying to lose weight or when they're trying to get healthier, right? And let's say they got lab work that comes back and cholesterol and pre-diabetes and all these things come back, the number one thing that they are told by their doctor to do is, do you know by any chance?
I'm sorry, you broke up from my end. So can you ask that one more time?
Sure, I said most people, when they go to the doctor, okay, and they get some kind of lab work or something back that that doctor says is no bueno, no good, okay, they're given the suggestion of doing two things. Do you know what that would be?
Eating better
Mm,
definitely is one of the
yep,
big tips.
and
And sometimes it's exercise too, or physical therapy even.
okay, so perfect. Oops, hold on. I lost my Leah here again. So Leah, just bear with me because as I've said before, I am not so technologically savvy, but I found her and she's joining us back. So
You just want to get rid of me. I get it. You just
no,
want to make it
you
like a
don't
one
have to.
person show. It's totally
No,
fine.
you answered that question beautifully. I wouldn't want to get rid of you. Diet and exercise is always the staple that a doctor will tell people to do, right? And then from diet and exercise, we say 80-20. 80% is what we eat, 20% is what we do, right? Or I've heard a lot of people say abs are made in the kitchen, right? Healthy eating.
Yeah.
Well, shocker to me is that truthfully, if we take a look, 80% is those first two S's: maintaining and managing and understanding our stress and creating a routine and a structure for our body. That is 80% of what we need to do. 20% is the diet and the exercise in that overall scheme of things. Because again, how well you eat and how well you move doesn't really have a major impact unless you are managing your stress or teaching the body when to operate. Because if stress is high and you're creating all these overabundance of hormones, then we're going to see the body start to deteriorate. And food can only go so far. Food is man's first form of medicine. Okay. And again, nothing I say in any of these podcasts are intended to treat, diagnose, cure any kind of diseases. It is meant to inform that we do have some power in our own hands to make these changes before they're too late. Okay. And that's the key, is that 80% really needs to be those first two S's. And it can be very difficult and it can be very frustrating, which is why I'm going to say oftentimes when we're playing that game or that game of life, we want to quit, right? I mean, how many times have you started and stopped a diet before?
Oh, many times. I mean, even when I started again with you, it was such a challenge. It's like I would be motivated, then I would drop off, then I get motivated and drop off. But finally, I said enough is enough.
Yeah, and it becomes a lifestyle change instead of just a one or another. A diet, when someone goes on a diet, usually mean there's a start point and a stop point. And that's great if you're trying to achieve a goal. And let's say your goal is 10 pounds. Well, what happens after the 10 pounds, right? And this is where lifestyle and
Mhm.
understanding things are so important because most people end up just going back to what they were doing before, right?
Yeah,
And
it's crazy how it creeps up on you though, because it crept up on me really quickly too. At
okay,
first, I was like, "Oh, I'm so disciplined." Now it's like, "All right, I guess I'll have a fry here and a fry there." And then it turned to two fries, then a whole box.
okay, you know what I equate that to? Did you ever ride a roller coaster before?
Yes.
Okay,
My
good.
childhood wasn't that bad, okay?
Okay. I hate them. So, like for me, I'd say biking up a hill, but most people can relate to a roller coaster. So, imagine a roller coaster. When you see that big climb up in front of you, it feels like it takes forever, especially when someone's scared of them, like I am. If I'm sitting in there, it's like terrifying that this climb up seems like it's infinitely long. And you go up and up and up, and it takes a while to click, 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 click all the way up. And then you
Oh
get to
yeah,
the top, and then they kind of hold just for a minute. And then what happens?
you just drop.
So which is
Yep.
faster, the climb up or the slide down?
Is this a trick question?
Well,
Okay.
which right? Which one's faster? The slide down is faster. And
Absolutely.
if you look at that to just what you said, where like it seems like it comes back so fast, learning all these new behaviors or incorporating all these techniques, it feels like that climb up, and that's why I always tell people never have like a weight number that you're trying to lose. Have a goal that you want to get to, but then have a goal behind that. Right. So if your goal
Yep.
was to lose 10 pounds, your next goal is to learn to maintain it. We just don't stop because if you get to the top and you just have that brief stop, you're going to slide down really quickly. And when it comes back fast. And fun fact, you double your fat back. So it's not even that you're gaining the weight back, you're doubling back the body fat as well. And
That is, yep.
I know. So really, I just kind of felt that today was important to talk about anybody who maybe, let's say after Labor Day, looking to get going on their health plans again, it's important to understand that there should be some form of a technique that you follow. I think it's been extremely important, and the most success I've been had with people is, and I'll ask you, Leah, are you most successful with accountability or without accountability?
I have to have accountability when I feel like, yeah, definitely. I mean, I try to do my best on my own, but sometimes I just have to have that verbal butt whooping every once in a while.
Exactly. And so that's where, again, we're meant to be here to inform, but if you are looking for that extra accountability, that is what a coach like myself is for. We do open ourselves up to take on a few new clients. So if you are interested, I do have a few spots left for this coming month since Labor Day is going to be
Do
open.
it.
Do it, right? We'll keep informing you.
Let's
But
do
yeah,
it.
the real work comes from that every day. And I'm sure, Leah, how many times a day, and not that you want to overly think about it, but you know, when you are trying to take care of yourself, do you find that you're thinking yourself more often and thinking about those next steps more often?
Right now, in this moment, I'm always trying to, like, now I'm definitely, okay, how do I not go down the slide again? Totally just try to do my best to stay on track.
I think it's important, and I'm proud of you, right? And that's why you're with me and you're co-hosting with this, because you understand those struggles that everyone has. Because at the end of the day, I'm just the GPS, right? A coach
Yep.
is just the GPS to get you to the destination. But ultimately, you as the person, each one of us, even myself, we're the drivers of our bus, right? You drive. I can
Yep.
plug in GPS to get me to the quickest way there. But if I choose to sightsee for a while, that's on me.
Why not? Exactly. And it's not that it's not a failure. And I don't want to feel, I don't want to put out the idea that, oh, I failed and I just have to get back on it. It's more like I had a good time. And, definitely I see the results from the good time. I mean, they're not the greatest results, but I do see results from the good time. But then it's like, okay, how do we bring this back?
Absolutely. And it's important. Listen, we're supposed to enjoy our life, right? There should be, I believe, no food or drink unless it's actually going to kill you. But there should be nothing that is eliminated from your lives for the long term, I mean,
Yes.
there may be things here or there, but it's just understanding the time that you're in, and where the routine is. And if you're in a high stress situation, it is actually even more important to be taking care of yourself to prevent yourself from falling apart. I mean, think about, we live in Florida, right? And I don't know how you are, but I see air conditioning trucks everywhere
Oh,
around.
yeah.
It's your AC is overworking itself, and you probably didn't give it a tune up prior to the summer months coming, and they start to break down. So
Yep.
we're not all that much different than most of the things in our everyday lives. And our goal is just to see you happy and healthy.
Are
So
you the AC truck driving around then?
I kind of am. Yeah, I am. I'm making sure if you're breaking down or you're broken down, I'm here to help you feel better, right? So
Absolutely.
fix yourself, but help you feel better. And no one needs fixing. We just need a little enhancing. It's okay to not want good anymore. It's okay to strive for great, right? And not only that, it's
Mhm.
okay to get out of okay, right? I know, even for me, I get sick and tired of okay. I'm ready for good. And then when I'm at good, I'm ready for great. And then when I'm at great, I'm ready for awesome. So
Yep.
it's just, be willing to push yourself to that next level. But I hope you found today's information about our S.S.D.E method informative. I'm glad that you were able to join Leah and myself today. Leah, do you have any closing comments for anyone?
It works. It definitely helps me out right now. And I should have used it a little bit more often with my travels because let me tell you, the traveling is definitely a butt kicker.
Well, and I think that makes for a great topic another time, how to stay consistent on the road, because you are queen of that. So I may actually let you host that one because I think it's important, right? There are people who travel or they're road tripping or flying, and you have that down in speeds. So
Yes.
till our next one, we hope that each one of you have a very safe and happy and healthy Labor Day weekend. Don't go overboard. And when you are ready to go ahead and start working on your own health and your needs, have fun. Yeah, have fun. Cheers to that, people. But when you are ready to start working on your own health goals and needs, feel free to give us a call. You can find us on our web page or our Facebook page at Why Wait Wellness. And again, I am taking a few more clients for September. So if you're interested, we're ready for you. So until then, it is Allison and
Leah.
yeah, Coach Allie and Leah saying goodbye. Have a wonderful weekend and be safe. Peace out.